So what do I mean by the secret spells of the English language? Well, let me share with you what I call our premier life sentence. And it goes something like this. We awake each morning and go off during the weekdays to earn the living at various jobs and undertakings until we come to the weekend. And this seems perfectly acceptable to most people. However, more people die between 6 and 9 on a Monday morning than any other time of the week.
As long as you stand by me.
So I do what I call a translation of the English language, and I spell that Trance, with the idea that words cast spells. So when you translate that life sentence, you remember that a wake is a funeral party for the dead. Mourning is the state you're in when you attend a wake. And you would have to be in a weekdays to earn the living, since urns are for the ashes of the dead. We call our jobs undertakings. Job itself is a Hebrew word for persecuted. And what we get at the end of this perverse bargain with life is the weak end of the deal as we become progressively weakened ourselves. And so our most prevalent greeting to each other is hello, the reverse of which is, oh, hell. And at first, I suspected the hands of collusion entangling the language to foster illusion. And I think it's quite true that a culture's theology has a great deal to do with the word's etymology and how it evolves over time to combine incompatible meanings that may undermine the original thoughts it was meant to define. But now, I don't think it's planned, for the thing that I've found is that like concepts can gravitate toward the same sound and vibrate at the rate that our thoughts designate. Because words are electromagnetic vibrations whose fine alphabetic tintinnabulations can take on the tint of our true expectations, which they then imprint on our metal of mind, causing sounds to adhere when they're of the same kind.
You see, Black's Law, the legal book, it's not really a book of law. It's essentially a grimoire. It's a book of spells. They can write down all of these rules on paper and you suddenly believe they apply to you, but only because you can spell. Only because the spells are holding you in place by your belief in this written language, when real language is actually spoken and real law is known. We all know what right and wrong is. We all have an inherent sense of good and bad. But by writing words down and spelling words, we can begin to mold the mindset of people and get them to operate within parameters which exist outside of natural law. A lot of language, a lot of ancient languages, you'll find that there is a symbol which will convey an entire word. And the symbol may convey a different word if used in conjunction with different symbols, such as Hebrew. There's like 6 meanings for each letter. But each letter is an actual word. It's not a language that is spelled.
We still have telepathic powers, and this in part is the reason for intuition and feeling other people's energies. Language has been an attempt to cut off this connection. Every word we say is a magic spell. So spelling, spell casting, has been specifically used to denigrate our divine selves. We are born into this world. Born comes from the English word barren. Today's definition of barren is unfruitful, bleak, and lifeless. Our children, as designated by our language, aren't even ours. Parents are a pair who rents. Our governments, especially our courts, don't treat a parent's right to control and direct the upbringing of their child as a fundamental liberty. We're forced from a young age through many types of indoctrination, and our parents are helping in this process. Look at the word childhood. A hood is used to cloak and hide. The etymology of children is chill and dren. Chill means cold. Dren is a name meaning a strong and healthy individual. So children are strong individuals who must be chilled, made cold. Stay with me, this will all come together. In Ballantyne's 1948 Law Dictionary, the term human being says sea monster. When we see monster, we get the definition, a human being by birth, but in some part resembling a lower animal. In the Oxford New English Dictionary of 1901, a human is defined as belonging or relative to man, as distinguished from God or superhuman beings. So these definitions are telling us we're monsters and have no inherent divine qualities. The word live backwards is evil. Our language is telling us we're born as monsters who are bleak and lifeless to a pair who rents us out to the government and other corporations that indoctrinate us. Our childhood is spent under a cloak so our divinity will be hidden from us, and we're evil when we live. Our sentences are made up of words. The word sisters in Greek mythology were fates or witches who controlled the fates of man. Every word we say directly affects our reality and ultimately our fate. The Egyptian deity Thoth is said to have invented language and writing. The original purpose was to use words for magic. The words write and rite are pronounced the same. A rite is a ceremony or ritual. Whenever we're writing with words or speak, we're initiating a ritual. Books contain chapters. A chapter often refers to a sect of a secret society or religious order. To page someone is to summon them. Pages in books made of words are summoning things to enslave or imprison our souls. The word grammar comes from the French word grammaire or grimoire. Grimoires were ancient magic books which contained instructions to summon demons. I want to mention sounds affect everything around us. The study of cymatics is the study of sound vibration on matter, and it has been demonstrated that vibrations and frequencies create geometric patterns in sand and other mediums. We wake up each morning. A wake is a funeral party held for the dead. At the beginning of each day, we say to each other, "Good morning." Mourning is what you do when you're sad for the loss of someone or something. We begin each day reveling in the morning of our divine nature, which has been stripped from us, by calling it a good morning. It's pretty masochistic if you ask me. We then go to work at our occupation. When we occupy something, it can mean being occupied by a military force, like in war. Many occupations are focused on money and the dog-eat-dog mentality. The dollar bill comes first before the environment or even each other. Therefore, we are committing war against each other and Mother Earth during each day we work our occupation. We are the military occupiers. An urn is for the ashes of the dead. For the average 9-to-5 worker, it would have to be one of the weekdays in order to earn a living. I agree, you would have to be in a weekdays to earn a living. During the week, we become weaker and weaker until finally it's the weekend, and we have become weakened. Somebody or something who is weakened has no power. And during the weekend, many of us turn to drink alcohol. Alcohol comes from the Arabic word al-kul, which is a body-eating spirit. It's also the source of the word ghoul. We drink booze or booze. Booze are synonymous with spirits who scare you, but what can you expect when you're drinking spirits? Alcohol has always been a medium for entities to flow through, and the effects in part demonstrate this. In Sigmund Freud's model of the psyche, he outlined three parts of the self: the ego, the superego, and the id. The id is the realm of our deep-seated fears. The id is considered a sort of third person hiding outside the conscious and superconscious mind. We use the similar word it as a sort of third person in our use of speech. We unknowingly give power to our deep-seated fears and help create it every day with our thoughts and speech. In horror movies, we hear the phrases, "It's alive," "It lives," "It came from the sea," and "It came from outer space." Of course, we remember the movie It. The it, or id, once again is our deep-seated fears, and by saying this word in our everyday sentences, we're evoking these. We all know the phrase, "When it rains, it pours." Satan, the ram or goat god, has also been known as Pan the Piper. A goat is a channel or pipe for water to flow through, and comes from the Old English word gotan, which means to pour. So when it rains, it pours. The word it consists of an I and a T, which is a cross. To cross someone is to go against them or insult them. I cross. I'll also mention that we live on an enclosed flat plane. Planet is simply plane with a cross at the end. It's also a plan-net. The plan with the lie of outer space and the many other lies used to trap us in a net of lies. When we graduate, we receive a diploma. Diploma comes from the word deplume, meaning to deprive of feathers. We receive our degree. A degree is a line bent to angle. When we accept a degree, we are admitting that we are bent and confused. Education, as we should all know by now, destroys knowledge, just like how the medical establishment destroys health and the government destroys freedom. All day we say to people, "Bless you," and "I'm feeling blessed." When we bless somebody, we're really telling them to be less. We should know when we pray to an external entity like God, we are actively telling the universe that we don't recognize our own creative abilities of manifestation. When we pray, we are really becoming prey. Somebody becomes prey when they are vulnerable. When we are praying, we are making ourselves vulnerable to other entities that don't always have our best intent. We have all the power within us, and we need to get off our knees. Our flat plane has been squared. This is in part what squaring the circle represents. The divine feminine, the circle, has been squared by masculine principles. Thoth, as I mentioned earlier, is the Egyptian creator of spelling. Thoth's name reveals a circle inside of a square. Thoth is made of squares in the form of the T-square and the H-square. The O is in the middle. Food for thought. Words act as electromagnetic vibrations, and it pulls us into confines by defining things in a reality made of free-flowing sine waves. It's just like the Saturn-Moon matrix projecting square waves on us. You could say we're helping in squaring our reality with these limiting sounds we utter from our mouth. And what's been given to us has been perfectly crafted, so we revel in language full of masochism and hatred for our divine selves. It's best we start learning to speak with a more conscious language. Everything we say is directly affecting this projection we're all in. We can use our intention and words to create amazing realities. One day we'll go back to our full telepathic nature, but for now, let's make the best of these spells. There's a lot more to discuss as far as words go, and I'll be making more videos about it in the future. I'll leave you with the opening sentence of the Gospel of John. In the beginning was...
I just woke up, but anyway. Okay, we've got pair, which means two. This is what we've been taught. Two. Pair means two. And we've got rent. That would, a payment. For the use of land. You're renting a home or car or like an object. Okay, you can't tell me this was not done on purpose. And we're speaking this into existence within our subconscious. Parents, this is a manipulation of words and meaning. We have been saying this over and over and over. So has the people in the educational field. They've been saying this word over and over and over. And we wonder why. They gradually disrespect parents. They're telling themselves that it's a pair that rents. Oh my gosh. And what makes this even worse, just think how many times a mother and father have said this word. And what it's done to their subconscious without them freaking knowing. You cannot tell me this was not done on purpose, because I found it in other words as well. Our language and the way it was set up is fucking evil. It's trash.
One of the biggest acts of terrorism in my country is...
Hey, let's sing the days of the week. Hey, 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 hey.